Are we live? Are we good?
Are we good? I guess we're good. We're getting the okay. Okay.
Hello, Carnivalers. Welcome to segment 43.
I'm the tall person in the group.
Where Cathie, Allan, and I, and the I being Jayme, Loge, are going to demonstrate for you techniques using Pigment Ink. We were talking today about how long we have been with the magazine, and we don't remember.
The closest we can get to is a very long time.
A very long time.
A
Not the
very
very first issue,
Yeah.
but perhaps maybe even the first year, first couple of years.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also joining us today is Sandy Hobbs. She is the owner of Scrapbooking Fanatics, and she's going to be answering your questions for us as we do this live presentation. So go ahead if you have any questions about what we're doing or what we're using. Sandy is there to help you out.
And we can come back afterwards and answer some questions for you. But right now, my wonderful husband is helping us out by filming this for us. And now thank you, Brian. We love you. Can we get you just from now on just focus on our hands? Okay. So
just wait. I want to add one thing.
Oh, she wants to add one more thing.
I want to add one thing.
Okay.
So Cathie and I did not plan our outfits for today. We got dressed individually in our own homes and arrived here to Cathie Allan's home, and look at us.
Yeah, we're just this colorful bunch of ladies.
Like colorful
It's kind of cute.
friends. It's meant to be.
There we go.
All right, Cathie, you're
okay. So here we go. We're going to be making. Basically, I'm going to be focusing on creating this card. And I'm going to show you how to do the background. We're going to give you a lot of tips and techniques, as many as we can in half an hour. And I know I'm talking really, 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 really fast because I'm really concerned about half an hour. Anyway, this card that I've made here is completed inside and out. Make a little storybook when you're creating a card. Have them go, ooh, on the cover and, when they open it up. Okay, so you can see how much fun this is. I'm using Pigment Ink for several reasons. I'm going to tell you I am now 67 years old. Never in my wildest imagination did I ever think I was going to do this for 40 years. Now I'm concerned that my projects aren't going to last a long, long time, but I might be dead in 20 years. And I want my grandchildren, I just got a funny look from my husband, I want my grandchildren to still have the projects that I made for him. So I went into my library in the back and we pulled out, these are scrapbook pages that I did. Well, Ryan is about 3 here, so this page here is 20 years old. Why do these look as good as they do? Because they're Pigment Ink. I could take you around my house and show you many, many projects that have been exposed to light, and if they're Pigment Ink, they're light fast, they're good. So for my first layer, I'm going to grab a blending brush. I do love these blending brushes. They come in all forms and sizes and fun things. If you have the old color box stylus, that's great too. If you're looking for something to match these guys, I think Sizzix has something called the Anything tool. I'm just going to take out my first color. Oh, and I was going to show you. Yes, I'm using my very ancient old pads, but look. Okay, these pads that we have here are the same ink that is in Sukaniko's Versacolors. This is Pigment Ink. This is Pigment Ink. They have always made the ink that are a replacement for Colorbox. So if you have this type of pad from Colorbox, just get a hold of the Sukaniko re-inkers and you can re-ink them.
They come from the same mothership. Same factory made all those inks.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to choose and use a blending brush. And I've used a piece of paper here, oops, so that I can create a definite line. Do you have to have a definite line? Definitely not. Okay, and I will show you one. And luckily, I had some little L's working. And look, I got the top third, not top, little over third, yeah, third-ish already done. I'm going to add a second color. So I'm going to put that piece of paper down. I'm going to get another blending brush. I could clean in between here, but we only have half an hour. Okay. And I'm going to put in the second stripe using a bit darker ink. Now my ink is coming out luscious and beautiful and wonderful because I just re-inked these pads. And that is so much joy because it protects the pads. That's why my pads are ancient and still beautiful. So again, I'm going to create that background, and the elves were at work again, and they finished that up for me.
Re-inkers are your friend.
Oh my gosh, you need re-inkers. Only the ones you get are going to say Versacolor Sukaniko.
Yeah.
Okay. Good job, Jayme.
Same mothership.
Same. Okay. So now, of course, I'm going to get the green, as opposed to the other two. There you go.
The less green greens?
The less green greens. And again,
the green is green.
I'm throwing paper all over the place. Look.
Television magic.
Ta-da! It's all done. Isn't that fun? Beautiful background. Really doesn't take a long time. And it's light fast. No, you don't have to use the piece of paper. I just went ahead. Pigment ink blends together like breathing. It's fabulous. Honey, just here. You don't have to show my face.
You do. You cutie patootie.
Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this background. And I'm just dropped one down there, but I'll go get it in a second. I'm going to use an amazing stamp set. Okay, you're all going to want this one. Like, this is the pine cone stamp set of your dream. 5 stamp pads, when layered, creates a fabulous, real looking pine cone. And I'll show you that later, but right now I'm only going to use one layer because I'm creating a background. So I'm going to take one of the layers. What happened? What happened? Are we good? Okay. So I'm going to take the darkest green.
You're doing great, Brian. We
in
love
this
you.
palette, and all you're going to do is have some fun. Think groups. When you're creating a background, and don't worry about misstamping, because this is the background. We don't care. We're going to be putting stuff on top of that. I like to group images, and you're going to just continue to create this lovely background using the darkest color of your pigment ink over top until it looks like, Jayme, I need you to go get that one.
Yes, ma'am.
Jamie's going to go right
out of the fortress.
Yes, she is now climbing over the couch. Oh my God. Okay, to retrieve the one that went flying.
TV
and
magic.
Again, there is my background. Now, you're going to love this. Now, Jayme is going to give you her version. Take the same idea.
I'm not back from getting your paper.
Yeah, she's not back yet. Here she goes. And she's going to add another layer, and I'll show you what I did with mine.
All right. So I worked at it opposite from Cathie Allan. I just random first and second value of some star images onto this sheet of paper, and then I blended my ink over top of that. So first and second value simply means I inked my stamp, I stamped it, and then I took the second value and I stamped it again. So you get a variation in the depth of color with your first and second value, okay?
Perfect. It's not misstamped. We just wanted a lighter version of the same color.
And then over top of that, I blended over my background. Here I'm using a nice silver.
And silver in pigment really gives you a metallic
nice
sheen.
sheen. I love it. I don't know if the camera will really pick it up. And then every now and then just a little bit of the blue just to add a bit of variation in the background. There we go. All right. So television magic.
I like that phrase, television magic.
There it is, completed. And I'm going to add another layer. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to do some stamping with acrylic paint. And what I do is just a little dab of paint. There's white, and I've also got a bit of gold. I take those daubs.
Cool thing about acrylic paint is
Little
that
spritz.
gold that she is using is about 20 years old. Still good. Like
just
me at 67.
make that into kind of a watery paste there. Okay, and I'm going to thin it out there. I don't want it too thick. I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick up some of that paint and add that to my background.
Oh, so much fun. and you're
And
not
the
looking
acrylic
for
paint is-
perfection.
Yeah, that's like kind of your sloppy layer. Just a little bit of something going on there.
There you go.
You can't get a precise image
And here's mine.
with your acrylic. You don't want a precise image. And let's add just a touch of gold to that too. All right, just that easy. A little more interesting stuff going on in the little.
There you go.
Spray.
And here's mine. So same background, same having fun, a little bit different stamps, different colors. Here we go. We're taking off into the rest of our project. We're going to come back to me, and what I'm going to do is I have all my images stamped here, plus I have all my gold splattered snowflakes and white splattered snowflakes. And what I'm going to do is I just want to go in. Oh my goodness, look at this. I'm just going to go in, find my green. Notice I've got like 3 green brushes going on here. So this one is my darkest one. And because I'm going to a darker color, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to pick up a little bit of color on my brush and put that back. And you're just going to, working from outside of the paper to the inside, just having some fun, finishing up those edges. Oh, so much yum happening in one spot. And of course, I'm not, Jayme's got a plan. I don't have a plan.
You think I have a plan? I have fooled you then if you think I have a plan.
What I did was use the same stamp, only I used different colors. And of course, what I've created is this background for this amazing scrapbook page that I've created of my daughter and her wonderful husband. So, and you can see here I did a 6x6 size that I'm working on. Same idea, different sizes of paper. You can use this to create anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to set that aside, okay? And I'm going to show you now how to create this acetate. We're going to talk about how I created this, and I'm going to show you some tricks. Here I have a clear piece of window plastic. Okay, love working on window plastic. Always found it difficult to stamp on and get stamp on this clear plastic and get a really precise image. And then Sukaneko made Pigment Style Stays On. This is Pigment Style. It's going to be more light fast. So here I am, and it just has that little bit of extra open time that gives me a gorgeous image. Okay, so this is how I created. I simply used Pigment Stays On, looking for that light fast quality, okay, because I want that, and I've stamped it on there. But I did want to show you something clear. Well, this is clear, but
It's clearly very clear.
it's clearly very clear. But you can see on this first image, I overstamped, too much pressure. The image on the stamp, that is perfect. This one, too much pressure. I can tell because I've pushed it out. So what I can do is, oh, perfect. There you go. See, it's really good to have a Jayme. So what I'm going to do is, this was stamped afternoon, yesterday, I don't remember, but quite some time ago. It was clearly dry.
You turn it into a tornado.
This amazing.
Rotate your phone. Here we go.
Okay, we're back. We're back. Technical difficulties, but it's all good. There's 3 of us here. But you can just use, you can see how this just melts it. Obviously, I'm at the bottom of this and used a lot. But I can just clean that, okay, till it's absolutely clean, meaning you're not throwing out your clear acetates. You get to use it and use it and use it.
That stuff's expensive.
That stuff's expensive.
It's spendy.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice that you don't have to. So here, all I've done is cut it down. I'm going to take my favorite adhesive, and the reason why I like this adhesive, I call it Be Creative tape. You might know it as Zipwang tape. And I need some scissors. Jayme, can I have a pair of scissors?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm just, all I did,
For these ones?
yeah, those ones. Oh, good. And all I'm going to do is set
these ones.
No, those are fancy tweezers. If you look at those, yeah, fooled you. And I'm just going to put...
Clearly, you cannot choose that option.
Clearly you can't do that. So all I did was run this Zipwang tape all around the edges. Okay, so I've got that all around the edges. And look, again, through the magic of television. This is fun throwing stuff. So
don't throw that one. You need that one.
That one. So now I'm going to...
Did you remember to get glitter?
Yeah, I did. Yay. Look at that. So now we're going to expose it. Like I say, I love my Be Creative tape because it stands the test of time. I'm all about the time. As I get older, I get more about time, believe it or not. And I'm going to take my red glitter.
Television magic.
And all I'm going to do is sprinkle it on there.
Do you notice like all the scratches on my hands?
I know. It's not from glitter.
No. Do you want to know how that happened? It's not a crafting accident.
It's from a kitty. A beautiful kitty.
My neighbor fosters for one of our local animal rescues, and she just got a batch of feral kittens, and so we've helped her out with a lot of her animals, and so our job is to tame the feral kittens so they may be rehomed into nice little homes. So round 1 was last night, and I'd say the kittens won.
The kittens won. So I've got the glitter on it, and now look at how, did you see the color change? Brian, can you get up really close? Watch the color change when you burnish it with your finger. This is not my technique. Haroldine Wingfield and Deanna Pennell came up with this technique years and years and years and took the glitter world by storm with this. But now, look at that. Now, this provides you with a nice little area to, guess what? Hide your adhesive. So, all you're going to do, you got glitter on top, you're going to take the same size Zipwang tape.
Can I do that to hide my kitty scratches?
You can, and we can add glitter too. And
Shazam.
There you go. You're going to peel and stick it to your page. Okay, so that's how I created this. Then what I wanted was, I love vellum. We're just adding elements and it's so much fun. Of course, I got some ribbon. Don't ask me where I got the ribbon. I get ribbon everywhere. But I got some ribbon, tied a bow, and then I stamped my image onto a piece of vellum. I do like the vellum from Ecstasy Crafts. It actually comes from a mill that they do nothing but create vellum. And here I have stamped with classic pigment ink. See, I'll open up my drawer here. And, yep, there's always a white pigment ink, and you can tell really used well. Been around a long time, still works. And I have stamped my image here. So when you are stamping and adding white embossing powder, basically you have that beautiful white edge. Trouble when you do this, as I did it on here, this is stamped embossed. All my coloring here is done from the back side. And the reason why is, when you try to color from the front using this, you will stain the embossing powder. Why didn't this one stain? Because I didn't stamp and emboss this. Guess what? Sukaneko made a white pigment stays on. It's got a little bit of texture to it. Like you can feel that there's a raise, and for whatever reason, less staining. So fabulous to fussy cut and stick onto your background. For those of you who don't like fussy cutting, only fussy cut partial points can make it into a corner. Less fussy cutting, I'm sure you'll love to do that. And how did I get that onto the page? Look what I did here. Here it is embossed. Brian, can you get really nice and close and show them? What I did, was I took this rope adhesive. And to make a rope adhesive, all you have to do, and I do this all the time, and I call it, you can call it a rope adhesive, you can call it an adhesive log. I'm just stick your tape down to a non-stick surface. This very old desk mat is worth its weight in gold. And depending on how wide your Be Creative tape is, that gives you a beautiful, beautiful rope adhesive. And you can see what I've done is hide it behind these detail lines. This is the wider, look at this one. There's every size in the world in Be Creative tape, right?
Yeah, you can get big enough to cover the whole back of an 8.5 by 11 sheet, like the 8.5 width.
So imagine I have 3D adhesive in whatever width I want. This is an amazing trick. You'll love doing it, especially wonderful for those extra fine die cuts that you have. So we have showed you how to create our backgrounds. Now, how much time have we got, Jayme?
About 10 minutes.
Oh, we got 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
So 9 minutes, now we can talk about all the other stuff we got into. So once we got all these techniques, what else can you do besides make a card? Jayme, what you got? Where's your cards?
No, before we do that though,
Okay,
I just
what
wanted
you
to go over the particular properties of pigment ink and
That's coming
why
from
you would
the
want to
person.
choose that. Because there are a variety of inks on the market and they all have their own characteristics and they all have their own particular jobs. So pigment ink is blended with glycerin. And what that does is it makes sure it sits on the surface of the paper rather than soak in. We call that it will have a long open time. That simply means you got time to fuss around with it.
You can
All right,
blend
so
it,
it's
you
beautiful.
can emboss it.
Yeah, beautiful
Okay.
for embossing. Like I made a card earlier where
Oh, look at this.
I have a bunch of stamped and embossed images. I stamped those on vellum, same background technique. But I did a whole sheet of vellum, stamped them, and then embossed them together. I had enough time to stamp all the different colors and then emboss, and it didn't dry up. It gave me time to work.
Yes, you used an open ink pigment, plus you worked on vellum that has a sealed surface, and that gives even sometimes some dye-based inks a little more open time as well. Play on vellum, you're gonna like it. Okay. So
the pigment inks are also beautiful for blending because they're so miscible. They will mix together. They will resist each other.
Yes,
We've demonstrated a beautiful technique before, just applying ink through a stencil, white ink through a stencil, and then over that, the whole thing, a darker color.
Right.
And that white ink will resist or devalue the darker ink, so you get these beautiful like bokeh effect in the background.
It is gorgeous. All you need is 2 colors of pigment ink, a light color and a dark color. And we did a whole article on that. You can see, I don't know if Brian can focus on to all of the magazines, the Canadian Scrapbook magazines that are up here. In one of these magazines is a whole article on the pigment resist, but we can't help you with the rest of it. I wanted
Anyways, this is what we've made. Yeah.
So here we
Same
go.
technique.
Say, here's the card. Finished it inside. Don't show them the whole room, Brian. This room looks like a tornado.
It looks crafty. Come on now.
Okay.
It's a crafty space.
And here's a tag. I love making tags, and I finish them on the back and the front, and then guess what they do? They tie them on the Christmas tree. So if they tie them on the Christmas tree, a good idea would be, oh my goodness, look, I took the same techniques. I love doing this at Christmas. Use a photo. You don't have to say 2. I know this is going to Little Max. So this gets tied on Little Max's present, same background. Oh, and I will show you this stamp set. And this will get hung on the tree next year. Your Christmas tree begins to represent a scrapbook. But one of my favorite ornaments on my tree is my daughter, who's now 47 years old. I hope she's 47, or she's going to be mad at me. How old is she, Brian? 46?
46.
46. Oops, 46. I'm not telling you which daughter was. 46 years old. But I see her in grade 1.
Our next birthday.
Yeah,
so
next
close.
week we're close. Next September. But anyway, I love
She's in her
doing tags
47th
like
year. How
this.
about that?
There you go. Now we're close. And you can see I wanted to show you something here. I did this for you. Again, using classic pigment ink. And I just wanted to show you that I stamped and embossed these. Both of them were stamped with white pigment ink and embossed. But see how much thicker this one is and how it's lost its detail? It's because
She's stamped like an elephant.
There you go.
She was angry.
A
I don't know
short
what Brian
elephant.
was doing.
A short elephant. But it is, so I just want you to make sure if your image doesn't look like what's on your stamp, it's not the stamp, it's probably you and the pressure you're putting on your stamp. So there again.
I do it all the time.
Okay, and we do have the scrapbook page.
I'm a matte stamper.
Very quickly, here's the scrapbook page, same thing. Now I'm into doing some 3Ding here. Added the glitter strips sideways. And this is I got such a beautiful image that, oops, and I just threw them all over the floor. A beautiful acorn image.
You sending me to fetch again?
Look at this. This 5-layer stamp.
Oh.
And because it's pigment ink, oh my God, she's crawling over the furniture again.
Oh, you sent me an orange.
You can work from dark to light and back to dark again. So dark brown, added stucco, added antique pewter, went to white, added black. Look at that image. Started with stucco, added antique pewter, added white over all of those. It's pigment, it stays on top.
How do you remember their names?
I've been using them for a long, long time. Added.
I'd be like 10.
Added
medium
chocolate
brown.
and a little black. Wherever we threw that stamp set.
I can't wait for the day when they ask me to name the colors again.
And the good news is we did have here the die. I had the die to show you because there's a matching die, so made cutting it out easy breezy. Oh, there it is. I thought for a minute we'd never find it on this desk, but there it is. So you can make like a billion of these and just stack up your acorns and just have so much fun with these techniques, you guys. Pigment inks can mimic so many other
stop
mediums.
talking. I want to show what I made.
Okay, it's her turn.
Stop talking. Cathie, Allan.
Oh, this is live.
All
I
right.
love it. Okay. Oh, look what you
I
did.
went for the slim line, and this is again just a different color set with the pigment ink.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one that I used, and so you can see that I stuck to this end of the color wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's the background. These images were stamped on vellum, and then I fussy cut them out. I didn't do the rope technique. I like to use a spray adhesive on my vellum. Okay, and then there's my glittered window that I stamped, and I colorized through the back. For that, this one,
Oh, she's a shaker card.
I turned it into a little shaker card.
Isn't that pretty?
So I turned the acetate window, and then I put that adhesive all around and filled it with a bit of glitter.
How fun is that? That makes
then
not only a
this-
great card, but you could put that on your scrapbook page as a beautiful
Has a
embellishment.
beautiful accent, yeah.
Oh,
And
I
then this
love
one I made. These are Impression Obsession stamps, all of these on here. This is Stampin' Up, and I've got some of Carrie Ingle's beautiful organic dyed muslin ribbon on there as well. And so here I did the same technique on the background. I steeped some leafy things, stamped some leafy things. I didn't steep them. It's not tea.
It's not tea.
It's not a ribbon. And colorized through it. And then these are simply stamped and embossed on vellum and then die cut out.
So
And
lots of
assembled
techniques.
A few layers of pop dots. And this one I made for you, Cathie, Allan, for a friend. That makes me smile.
Oh my God, I love you, girl.
I even wrote a note inside. Surprise!
Oh, she did this. She did this while I was right here. There you go. This is, okay, from Jayme and I to you. I hope you are so enjoying this wonderful carnival. Jackie and Katerina have done an amazing job putting this together, and all of the team. I'm not going to talk anymore because I'm going to cry. These ladies are not only my partners, but they are my best friends. We have formed amazing relationships. Why? Because we love to play with ink and paper and scrapbook and art journal and mixed media and all the fun stuff, and we do it together. So you guys have an amazing night. Jayme,
Happy scrapping, everyone.
happy scrapbooking, guys. We're going to continue.
Bye.